Hello. Testing, testing. How's it going? So, let's see what's going on the internet these days. I got my new layout going. Got the dog's little slideshow going in the corner. I got the followers list right here. So hopefully I can get up to 40 soon. 50, and then that I can start actually getting like subscriptions and stuff, which would be amazing. All right. So, let's see what's going on the internet. Now, I am a huge Simpsons fan, and this guy, the Real Gems, he makes some of the best Simpsons videos out there. So I definitely would like to see this new video he's got out 3 hours ago, 15 minutes long. Not too bad. Let's check it out.
Episode. It's so good, and it breaks my heart how much it gets ignored. When I did the season 3 rankings, I put it all the way at number 2, right behind Homer at the Bat, and I will stand by that ranking. Doubling down, Bart's Friend Falls in Love is one of the biggest hidden gems of the Simpsons classic era. I suppose in some respects, I get why this one isn't typically put in the tier with the Rosebuds, Mr. Plows, and Lemon of Troy's of the world. This is a trite and cliched tale about childhood romances and how they affect friendships. There have been so many TV episodes about this very topic. I'm guessing pretty much every Nicktoon tried their hand at it. If we're handing out originality points, Bart's Friend Falls in Love gets a score of 0 out of 10. However, the execution is pretty much perfect. Maybe other shows shouldn't bother doing this, because Bart's Friend Falls in Love already did the best possible version.
They did a couple of different versions of this where Bart had the one of Cletus's daughters. What's her name? Spuckler. Something Spuckler. Say Simpsons wiki Spuckler girl. What's her name? Mary Spuckler. Yeah. So he definitely had a thing with Mary Spuckler where she was jealous of him spending time with Milhouse. And then there was another one where he Bart was had a thing with what was the girl the oh, who's the Arnold Schwarzenegger guy? McBain. No, McBain's his character on the TV show. Simpsons wiki McBain. Let's see. So it's McBain, Rainier Wolfcastle, and then his daughter, Greta. Yeah. So she kind of had a thing with Bart, and Milhouse was on a mission to ruin that. So this little triangle has pretty much always happened with either finally Milhouse gets a love interest or Bart has one.
I'm obviously being glib when I say that, but that's how much I love how they went about it. For one, this episode makes an amazing first impression. This Indiana Jones homage is, in my opinion, the best opener to a Simpsons episode ever.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. Like every time I think of a doing something on a tablet or doing some type of like drawing project or animation project, I think of this intro.
Sorry, Flintstones. Sorry, Leonard Nimoy. Sorry, everything else I'm forgetting about. This is the best. It's so well storyboarded, how every ridiculous visual flows from one to the next, in sync with the music. The perfect way to kickstart this Bart adventure. Although honestly, regarding the sense of flow, you could say the same thing about the entirety of Act 1. Every scene links up seamlessly to the next one. We go from Indiana Jones to Bart Milhouse talking magic 8 balls. What could come between two friends? Smash cut to Samantha and Skinner. Bart follows up on his previous scene, then reveals Samantha walking in. Samantha introduces herself, Milhouse sees her on the playground. Whoa. Smash cut to sex education. Video, boring. Samantha and Milhouse look at each other. Q&A, Milhouse and Samantha meet up, and Bart notices. We go to the treehouse, Bart is sent away for crappy comics, reveal them kissing.
I'm surprised that they skipped over the sex ed video they show in class, because that is pretty funny. I think it's like basically the bunnies end up getting together, and then they say like they had 24 kids, only 8 survived.
End of Act 1. It does such a nice job of creating that continuous rising action while inserting those jokey tangents. Yeah, let's do that funny and jarring Skinner joke where he bitterly rants about Vietnam. Let's surround Samantha's plot relevant. Question with silly ones from Nelson and Bart. God schmod, I want my monkey man. Now we need to do this joke about Otto's girlfriend topless dancing from 4:15 to 4:20.
Seems like I got some feedback on my microphone. I need to fix that.
Like all the best Simpsons episodes, this one hits the perfect balance of developing its plot and random punchy jokes. Everything flows. Notice how the first abrupt shift is placed at the act break, where they finally introduce Homer's B-plot.
There we go. I think that should work better.
This was a smart choice, letting Act 1 breathe so they can build up Milhouse Samantha, and later cut back and forth between these two storylines. The downside is that they have to fit in the whole B-plot into 2 acts, so there's a lot of jumping back and forth later on. However, these particular plots are well suited to being juggled. Once the Milhouse Samantha ship has set sail, we don't necessarily need scene after scene of Bart being pissed off by it, and Homer's subliminal tapes require him to regularly go to bed and time shift the story. Homer's B-plot is on the disposable end of the spectrum. No one's ever going to talk about.
I use his when he comes back to normal after his vocabulary sleep sessions, and he can't think of words for things, where he's like, I need something to dig, and Marge says a spoon. Yes, I must quote that all the time.
This one, like the sugar plot in Lisa's Rival, there's not much to it. It's just Homer goes to bed, keeps overeating, and starts using $2 words. What's stopping them from putting this in Bart the Lover and putting the swear jar here? Hey, wait a minute. How many change jars does Homer have? Anyway, as disposable as this is, it does kinda sorta fit the theme of the main storyline. We have the kids watching a sex education video, and Milhouse falling for Samantha, and then we have Homer drooling over the Good Morning Burger, and Marge and Lisa trying to curb his addiction. It's an episode about our primal urges. Honestly, this B-plot is totally worth it just for these commercials alone. I love the ridiculously sultry line reading they went with. It is so over the top how much they're sexualizing this food. Rich, creamery, butter. Whole thing's ridiculous. And then they fill this pointless B-plot with so many random and absurd jokes. Let's end Lisa's fantasy with them crushed by a box labeled Steinway pianos. Now let's do a fantasy of Homer being shot by terrorists. Now a montage of Homer's belly and this bizarre parade thing. Just listening to Homer's newfound vocabulary is weird enough. The expression, the gourmand metamorphizes into the voluptuary, makes me laugh so much, and I have no idea why. I guess the further it goes along, the less it really jives with the Bart Milhouse angle. The two plots only run into each other a couple times, but I think its disposable, plug-and-play nature suits the structure of the episode well, and deserves more consideration among the classic era B-plots. Like I said earlier, the B-plot does significantly affect the pacing of the overall product. How the first half has that organic flow, but then the second and third acts turn into Homer versus Patty and Selma, constantly bouncing back and forth. The Bart Milhouse story starts feeling like a collection of loosely connected vignettes. It obviously doesn't ruin the episode or anything. Some of the very best Simpsons episodes jump all over the place. It's just one of those that is a tale of two halves. I know that I once memed on the title, the awkward Bart's friend falls in love, but I do get why they named it that way, as this does feel like Milhouse's coming out party as a supporting character. Sure, he had played key roles.
Does he have like any other love interest? Is this the only one he gets? Milhouse's girlfriends. Love interest with Greta Wolfcastle, Samantha Stanky, Paris Texan. I don't know who that is. Taffy. Oh yeah, Taffy. Yeah. So Lisa was rejecting Milhouse, and then this girl moved in on Milhouse, and Lisa got jealous, which always gave the line, "You don't want to be with me. You don't want me to be with anybody else. How miserable do you want me to be?" Poor Milhouse.
In previous episodes, and even had a B-plot centered around their friendship earlier that season. But this was the first time we got a real sense of who Milhouse is, what his relationship with Bart is actually like, and where they might differ. We even meet Kirk for the very first time. That's the most important thing. They were smart to frame this story format around Milhouse falling in love and not Bart. I actually think this is the more natural alignment of the characters. This suits their individual temperaments more than Bart's stories like New Kid on the Block and Bart's Girlfriend. As we saw in the Bart Romances video, he is a character that can struggle as the romantic lead. He is a little too closed off. It can be tricky getting the characters and the audience to connect with his vulnerabilities. Whereas Milhouse is all vulnerabilities. The problem with him is that he projects too many of them. So I appreciate this episode's easygoing approach to set up Milhouse as the romantic lead, not introduce relationship drama between him and Samantha, and put the focus on Bart's reaction. Can you imagine how much more annoying this would be if Bart tried turning Milhouse and Samantha against each other? No, let them be the stereotypical cute couple and watch how much Bart hates it. Of course he would go behind Milhouse's back to sabotage him. It's exactly the way he operates. It also fixes that whole guest star of the week problem that Bart or Lisa stories can have, where they invest so much time into a new relationship with a character that we will never see again. These episodes often have to hang their hats on a larger satirical point. Whereas this one is instead about Bart and Milhouse's friendship, something that is more central to episodes often have to hang their hats on a larger
I couldn't believe when I figured out that that was what's her name? Elizabeth Turner? Reverend of Joy's daughter. Jessica Lovejoy. Dylan's wiki. Really? She was voiced by Meryl Streep. No, not was it Maggie that got Maggie says Dada voice actress voice. Elizabeth Taylor did Maggie. That's what it was.
satirical point. Whereas this one is instead about Bart and Milhouse's friendship, something that is more central to our main character and has a longer reaching impact on the series. Milhouse is one of the most important supporting characters for Bart. The conventional wisdom is that Milhouse is the desperate one and needs to be friends with Bart. But this one flips the dynamic on its head. How desperate would Bart become when he's going to lose his friend? To what lengths would he go to get things back to normal? Fundamentally, how much does a Bart need his Milhouse? I love this moment, where Bart tears up after the movies. The resignation that things are different now. Bart is only 10 years old, as later episodes often forget, and this little moment feels so true to that age. It's brief, but we actually see something chip away at Bart's facade. And then, after talking to Milhouse, we get that awesome visual with his shadow. Man, this is such a good scene. Director Jim Reardon deserves so much credit for how beautiful this whole thing looks. Now, I shouldn't give Samantha Stanky short shrift. Bart's the POV character, so we're gonna see most of their relationship through his eyes. But they do a wonderful job of letting the audience get a sense of who Samantha is, preventing her from becoming a random disposable love interest. Bart's anxieties feel more meaningful because we, the audience, get why Milhouse and Samantha would like each other. There's this later episode where Milhouse dates this girl, Taffy,
There it is.
who falls for him after Lisa rejects him. And it's just like, who is this random girl, and why is she so into Milhouse? We don't know her. Lisa's right to suspiciously stalk them. Whereas guest star Kimmy Robertson brings enough sweetness to the role, and the writers give her enough screen time for the audience to get their relationship. Of course Bart would be threatened by this and think they're about to Cory and Topanga this thing. They're obviously not going to, like her dad's gonna find out eventually. But once again, Bart is 10 and it would feel that way. I also appreciate, from a plot construction standpoint, their usage of Milhouse's magic 8-ball. It's effective at introducing the central question about Bart and Milhouse friendship, and it comes back with a bang in Act 3. It's the little stuff like that that makes a plot so much more cohesive. There's definitely an argument that Bart is too much of a vindictive asshole here, that he deliberately sabotages their relationship, gets Samantha sent away, and he barely even suffers any consequences. The two boys fight it out, and Milhouse quickly gets over it. Yeah, maybe they should have let Milhouse get a few more punches in. Bart had it coming. On the other hand, they wisely chose a softer outcome to Bart's actions. It turns out Samantha loves her new school, and maybe getting out of Springfield Elementary is a net positive. The story doesn't really work if Bart sabotages her and then everything is terrible. These charming French-Canadian nuns are a more offbeat choice. Oh, fun fact, according to the commentary, for this nun singing Dominique, they didn't bother looking up the lyrics and just told Maggie Roswell to wing it. I like this joke even more after learning that. This is a total aside, but this episode has one of my favorite DVD commentaries. Mostly because like a dozen people sat in for it. Why this episode? Was everyone just around at the time? My favorite part is this moment, where they're all totally stumped as to whether this shot is a reference to something. I still have no idea. It does feel distinctly cinematic. I already hit up most of the memorable jokes elsewhere, but I should probably circle back and address them proper. Bart's Friend Falls in Love isn't the most consistent laugh-out-loud episode, even by Season 3 standards. I really enjoy its character-driven humor. It's full of these strange character beats, like Krabappel ranting about her ex, Milhouse nudging Bart knowingly, Homer suggesting Lisa is a lying scumbag, and of course, the Martin scene, which is hilarious and breaks my brain. It's like, boom, loot performance. Why? Because. Look at Martin's weird eyes now. I can sense some of that punchy Season 4 energy creeping into this one, where you can feel
that face reminds me of a subreddit just simply called Simpsons Faces, which is when they catch all of the weird angles and faces Yeah, a lot of these where they're pointed straight at him or just in the middle of anything goofy. Top of all time. Oh, poor Krusty. Early stuff. Oh man, yeah. Season 1. Ooh, like two Bart's heads like mashed into each other.
Feel where the series is going humor-wise. It's not reaching Homer at the Bat levels, but it's definitely there. This extended Troy McClure video feels very much like what we'd see in the later seasons. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Fuzzy Bunny's Guide to You Know What is the all-time best Troy McClure video. It perfectly flip-flops between the cutesy euphemism stuff and straight up showing cartoon rabbit pornography and citing the infant death rate. The production is so deranged and it's perfect. Really, this video and the opening is doing so much of the heavy lifting in the jokes department. When you've got the best opener,
Troy McClure, like one of the best Troy McClure ones is Bovine University.
Nothing beats a stroll in cattle country. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such educational films as 2 minus 3 equals negative fun and Firecrackers, the Silent Killer.
Mr. McClure?
Oh, hello, Bobby.
Jimmy, I'm curious as to how meat gets from the ranch to my stomach.
Whoa, 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 slow down, Jimmy. You just asked a mouthful. It all starts here in the high-density feedlot. Then when the cattle are just right, it's time for them to graduate from Bovine University. Come on, Jimmy. Let's take a peek at the killing floor. Don't let the name throw you, Jimmy. It's not really a floor. It's more of a steel grating that allows material to sluice through so it can be collected and exported. Getting hungry, Jimmy?
Mr. McClure, I have a crazy friend who says it's wrong to eat meat. Is he crazy?
No, just ignorant. You see, your crazy friend never heard of the food chain. Just ask this scientician. He'll tell you that in nature, one creature invariably eats another to survive.
Oh, well, that's so funny. Like, right in the middle of streaming this, YouTube is just like, you can't stream that. Disney will take it away from you. Well, at least it tells you, like, immediately. So,
forever.
and I guess that's why the real Jim's, he just does little screen captures and doesn't actually have the video on there.
And the best Troy McClure movie, you probably deserve respect. I don't know if this review has sold anyone on Bart's Friend Falls in Love being an underappreciated classic. I hope it has. Even if you remain unconvinced, that's fine. I mostly wanted an excuse to sing its praises. I think quirky is the word I would use to best describe it. It takes an extremely simple story concept and throws at it every bizarre or eccentric joke that the writers can think of. The story never explodes into something grand or dramatic like a season 5 episode. They keep things small, filling it with offbeat character business to support this Bart Milhouse story. They certainly don't get any points for originality, but they more than make up for it with relatability. I think everyone has felt like a Bart or a Milhouse at different points in our lives. You can go into it from either character's perspective. It says something meaningful about Bart and Milhouse's friendship that we don't often get, an earnest examination of their dynamic. Especially for Milhouse. He is so regularly kicked around by the series, it's just nice to watch an episode that actually seems to care about him. Let Milhouse be successful for once. He didn't get his name into the episode title, but Bart's Friend Falls in Love is the rare Milhouse W.
I watch so much Simpsons, but I don't really have a lot of it memorized. I mean, I know of it, but anyways, what else you got? Go to see if there's anything interesting. Barry, I liked. I just finished watching Barry. But let's see what's shows up on the shorts.
Bert Kreischer hit rock bottom 3 months ago when this picture went viral of him throwing out the first pitch while weighing 275 pounds. It was at this moment that Bert said, quote, "Never did I think it would come to this. I'm sharing this photo to hold myself accountable."
It's horrible, but that picture is the worst of it. That picture of my body's fat catching up to my body.
Your stomach does look crazy right there.
I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't look real.
12 weeks later, Bert is down a whopping 45 pounds and shared this body comparison to his Instagram. This is quite the accomplishment for the machine. And
I mean, if there's anybody that yo-yos, like, he is the king of it. I mean, when was the first Sober October that they did? That was like, I think I was living in Atlanta, so that had to be like 2017. And, you know, like, he's just been up and down, and he's just crazy about, like, looking in the mirror and actually recognizing, like, because, you know, there's just so many clips of him that's like, oh yeah, my shoulders are great. It's just, Bert's an odd guy.
none of it would be possible without the moment Bert Kreischer hit
this Instagram account. It's this woman.
When you do a doctor deposition.
Not super crazy about all the Tom Segura, Joe Rogan stuff that's just going on right now. I mean, like, Tom Segura had some good specials, and, you know, I enjoyed him. Bert stuff I never really liked. Some of his podcast stuff was okay, but he just always is over laughing, you know. Let's see what else is going on.
At least here in Georgia, that doctor does not leave his or her office. The doctor sits in their own office, and we bring a camera crew, like the one that I'm speaking to right now, and a court reporter to the doctor's office. All the lawyers show up there, and we question the doctor right then and there. There are generally two kinds of doctors that give depositions. There's your treating doctors. Those are the people that your clients have been.
China has actually just announced something really wild. Online games will now be banned from giving players rewards if they log in every day. If they spend on the game the first time, like the top-up bonuses, gone. If they spend several times on the game consecutively, so chain money, they're like, oh, you bought like 5 items, you can get 50% off the next item. That's gone. In addition, games will be stopped from luck-based draw mechanics, like loot boxes to minors. No more gacha for kids. That's good. It is crazy and crazy to see this. So these are all banned now in China. Panic among investors, wiping nearly $80 billion in market value off of China's 2 biggest gaming companies. The moment that they did this, $80 billion wiped off the map, dude. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting. People will be like, oh, that's just going to be in China. They're going to use them everywhere else. I don't know about that. Remember when the EU implemented all of its online laws and then every website does this? I think the rest of the market's going to follow suit. This is a rare China W for me. These are some of the most predatory dog shit business things I've ever seen in games. And it feels weird, but I agree with you, China. Please get rid of this shit. China is...
That's fantastic. Like, I mean, you know, you play these games and you immediately realize how predatory they are. I mean, I played, what was it? Let's do it by recent. Dragonair Silent Gods. I mean, it's an okay game, and I've seen a couple streamers do you know, they're sponsoring them and giving them money, and good for them. I get it. But, like, you know, I've played the game. I haven't put any money into it, but it's, you know, there's tons and tons of characters that you basically have to roll for and collect. So if you really want to get ahead in it, you have to spend money. You know, I mean, as simple as that. And so, like, I jump in the game and it's like, hey, cumulative check-in. Hey, you checked in again. Log in again tomorrow to get the next thing. Special supply, 99 cents. I mean, obviously, it's just, you see it everywhere. And the fact that China is saying, yeah, let's get rid of all this stuff that I mean, it's a, like all of these tactics are alive and well in Vegas. And, when you go there, obviously people ruin their lives there. And that's not news, but it's, the idea of like doing that on your phone at any time, anywhere. Yeah. So the fact that they're getting rid of that, that's fantastic. I'm not saying that this game is like the worst at it or anything, but I'm just saying like I wanted to play the game and I got pretty far into it, and then it was like, well, do I want to spend money on it? And no, very, very much not interested in spending money on this. All right, let's get out of here. What else we got?
Hey, you're the helper guy, right? The TA.
So I'll just stand up so that everyone can get a good eyeful. I am 6 foot. Thank you very much. I'm 6 foot 7 inches tall, and I'm wearing right now for the listeners a black T-shirt that you're probably thinking that Steve co-created The Office is probably Versace or Armani. He's made a bit of money, but that's not the case. Because those brands don't make clothes for tall people. And you think, well, why can't you just get clothes for tall people? Just regular T-shirts and fit. But no, because normally what happens is if I buy an XL for the length, then it's too wide. Or if I get something a slim fit, it's going to be too short. So I have to go to specialist shops for my clothes. But the specialist shops know that I have no other alternates. So they can have names, the shops can have names that actively insult tall people, and you can do nothing about it. John, I'm going to ask you to read the label of this T-shirt. This is a real American store.
It's called Too Tall.
It's called Too Tall. TooTall.com is where I buy my T-shirts. So I'll just...
That's funny. I don't usually run into that. I'm only 6'1", so a large or an extra large usually fits the bill just fine.
Hey DM, how much damage did that fireball do last turn? 31. Oh boy, I'm down. But you'll just unshapeshift out of your bear wild shape now, right? So you're still up? What? Because you're a druid, and when your wild shape form reaches 0 hit points, you just return back to your regular form. Druid? I'm confused. Your bear form's down, so... That ain't no form, buddy. Yep, he's just a bear. Like, you're just a bear? Yep, but I used to speak with animals on you when we first met, and you told me you could shapeshift. Look, you promised a wild, hungry bear, endless food, shelter, and you're the first human that's ever really been able to talk to me, so I would have said whatever you wanted to hear. What? So what can you do? Like, what are you? I'm a bear, so bear-related activities, I guess, like catching...
I never got into D&D. I mean, I enjoy some of the clips I see of people playing it, but, all the RPGs that I play, I'm always, like... basically trying to speed run it. I never really get into the role-playing part of it.
I don't give a fuck what you say. White people are friendly. You can call them motherfuckers up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the wrong number and they won't even be mad at you.
Do you know the Michelangelo effect? It's a psychological effect that describes how over time two people, often in a relationship, will craft each other into the idealized version of what they want. So I make you more like what I want and you make me more like what you want, and I am happy to become more like what you want. And the reason it's called the Michelangelo effect is you can imagine Michelangelo looking at this huge block of marble, and from the outside it's rough hewn, but over time he chips away and creates the statue of David. So he sees inside of something which isn't perfect the perfection that he wants, and over time is able to craft this thing out of it. Do you know the Michelangelo?
I mean, I guess that's a good idea if you're in a good relationship and you both want that for each other, but if you don't tell them that you're doing that, then that would be a little creepy.
The one-sided telephone call. This is when a character in a play does a telephone call, but they repeat all the phone call information out loud to the other characters in stage. First, get a telephone no one would ever have in real life. Oh, hello. Then as an actor, do way too much business with the phone, all right? Really make a fucking meal out of it. And now we humbly present the one-sided telephone call. Ravi, a melodramatic wash.
Oh, hello. Well, I'm sure. The police? That's who you are. A car accident? George's daughter? Her head ended up where?
The one-sided...
If you remove the tray from your washing machine, you'll notice it's completely sealed. If I fill this thing with liquid, eventually it reaches the opening at the top of this tube and it comes out the back here. But the liquid doesn't empty completely. It remains at the same level as that opening at the top of the tube. So how is it that after the wash is finished, that compartment is completely empty? When I put this lid back on, watch what happens. The liquid empties out. How is that? The mechanism is called a Pythagorean siphon. The level of liquid in these two chambers is the same as the level of liquid in the main chambers. That's because the pressure is the same in both of those places. But when the liquid reaches the top edge here and spills into that central chamber, it falls down because of gravity. But the liquid forms a kind of seal because of surface tension. The weight of that water in the central chamber pulls the rest of the liquid out of the device until it's almost completely empty. And that's the purpose of the mechanism in the fabric softener tray. If you...
Hey, what's up, man? I'm you from the future, and I'm just stopping by to let you know to not invest in NFTs. I don't even know what that is. It's a tech thing. It'll be big in a few years. Wow, you must have the wildest technology in the future. Oh yeah, check this out. 2023 MacBook. Oh, man, I just have this crusty old 2013 MacBook. Well, just be patient, and one day you'll let... Yo, is that a light-up keyboard? Oh, you got that key that opens your app library. I don't have that either. Oh, you have an HDMI port and 2 USB ports? This thing is sick. Well, hey, you must have some cool new keyboard features. Yeah, for a few years we had this touch strip at the top of the keyboard, but that actually sucked. So we went back to the original design. The original design that doesn't have all these features. Yeah. Well, hey, I see we're both using the MagSafe. No one's tripping over their cords. Oh, damn, I forgot they solved that problem back in your time. You see, for a few years, they actually unsolved the problem with a non-magnetic cord, and then recently, they solved the problem again with the same cord. God, do we all really have such short memories? Weed's legal in the future. I don't remember what I did this morning. Hey, what's up?
Oh. So I don't know if shorts is really the way to do this. I mean, I like sitting on the toilet watching this stuff, but I mean, I guess it just, you know, let's see. And so many of these are long. First CS2 major total disaster.
We are just days into the open qualifiers for the first CS2 major, and is already hitting the fan. Teams cheating, constant delays, and a whole slew of other technical difficulties that aren't being solved by the team of apparently useless tournament organizers. This was supposed to be the start of something new, the next era in Counter-Strike, but things couldn't be worse right now. If I could describe CS2 in 2023 in one word, it would probably be controversial. The announcement practically broke the internet, but the very limited beta left many lifelong fans feeling shafted. And once the game did come out, things got even more complicated. Unpolished mechanics, cheaters everywhere, and a striking lack of content. But now it's 2024, and a new beginning, a full year of Counter-Strike being kicked off by the first ever major. You see, despite Counter-Strike 2's rocky road, the tournaments thus far have been pretty solid. Sure, a few hiccups here and there, but what tournament doesn't? The only real caveat is that last year we were still very much in a transitional period. Players were still adjusting and teams were going to make changes. Now, there's no excuses. It's a fresh start and everyone gets a chance to find glory in this new era. I was actually pretty hyped at the idea of it, but unfortunately that was all quickly soured since the start.
Are these qualifiers? They're all online, and that's how they're doing cheating? Is that how that's happening? Because I mean, obviously cheating can still happen at live events, but it's usually less likely.
start to this RMR hasn't been exactly smooth. In March, the Copenhagen Major will be held by PGL, but the current open qualifiers for it are being run by Swedish TO Challenger Mode. Now, as we all know, PGL can be a bit hit or miss, especially when it comes to their tech issues.
Hello, Antwerp, and welcome to the championship stage!
Challenger Mode, on the other hand, was used as recently as the Paris Major, and from what I could glean, their qualifiers have gone about as well as any other TOs. But being the first ever CS2 Major, there was a lot of hype and a lot of pressure going into this one, and, well, it seems they kind of fucked it up. So let's just start with the logistical issues. Right out of the gate, we were getting tweets from pros complaining about things just not working the way they were supposed to. You had 3-hour delays due to high server load, teams unable to join matches causing them to just straight up lose without even playing, and a buggy anti-cheat system causing ridiculously high ping or straight up disconnecting players, forcing teams to play 4 versus 5. Now, if you're wondering why this is even happening, especially at a major, and why teams aren't being given more pauses or even replays, your guess is as good as mine. To be fair, tournament rules can be pretty rigid. So if a team runs out of pauses because a player can't connect, or you fail to ready check, the game will just move on. And sure, the idea of having a bit more understanding during situations like these would be nice, but given the hundreds of matches they need to get through, they might just not have the time. But it sure as hell doesn't help when the TOs lack the manpower to even attempt to resolve these issues. But more on that later, because the shit show did not stop here. There have been several instances of players attempting to inform the TOs of alleged cheaters who made it into the open qualifiers.
Cucú. No, tranquila. Ahora se viene. ¡Te pillé! ¡Estás al otro lado del ladrillo! ¡Te he pillado!
Now, this actually happens quite often in open qualifiers, but the sheer amount of whistleblowing was definitely concerning. And to make things even more complicated for the TOs, during one of OG's matches, the coach of the opposing team was accused of cheating. Allegedly, Coach Rufire was in a Discord call with his team watching a 0-delay livestream of the match and giving his players information. And for some bizarre reason, Rufire streamed himself doing this, and as a result, his team was disqualified shortly after.
Oh man, how are you that stupid?
After beating OG. Yes, it was resolved, and honestly, there's not that much you can do to stop people from doing blatantly stupid shit like this, but it just adds to the ongoing dumpster fire that is this cursed RMR. And maybe these issues would have been easier to swallow if the admins were more helpful. Especially in these massive open qualifiers, it's a big deal that admins help players with any and all problems they have. But according to multiple pros, the admins weren't doing their jobs, either taking too long to respond, providing unhelpful information, or not replying altogether. Some have suggested that this is due to a lack of admins to go around, but many aren't accepting this excuse this late into the game. And all that frustration has seemingly seeped into the Discord channel for the RMR, with users now spamming porn. All in all, players and fans alike aren't happy, claiming this is one of the worst qualifiers in Counter-Strike history. This includes top pros who have already spoken out about their dissatisfaction, like Nico, Dupree, and Simple, who, I must add, isn't even there. Like I said at the top, this was supposed to be...
So, you know, I'm familiar with running dedicated Half-Life servers on machines locally, and then, you know, when you wanted an online server, you could pay for them. But is everything now on Steam and it's online? Or, like, are you just screwed? You have to use Valve's infrastructure? Like, can't you just have your own server and host a match and run it?
The official start of the new Counter-Strike era. But thanks to PGL's choice and tournament organizer, it's just another shit show and awful PR incident for the game. But what's even scarier is that this might not be Challenger Mode's fault at all. A lack of manpower and cheaters sneaking into the RMR is one thing, but what if all the other issues is a result of the game itself? CS2 has faced hurdle after hurdle, but just because it's a new year doesn't mean all those problems were magically solved. We won't know unless PGL or Challenger Mode release a statement, but it's possible that they did everything they could, and CS2 just isn't ready for a tournament of this size. So where do we go from here? Well, PGL could change the TO if it truly is their fault, but the best option right now, face it, is probably going to be very expensive and might not even be possible since they're technically a competitor. Now, you might be thinking, isn't it worth it in the name of competitive integrity? To which I agree. But what if they do change and the problems continue because Counter-Strike 2 just isn't up to the task? Maybe, just maybe, CS2's first major isn't going to be as magical as we all hoped it would be.
Well, that's a shame. I mean, I haven't really paid attention to any of the CSGO tournaments. Oh, what else is there? Game theorist.
It's not click.
Is this? Been a couple people leaving. Let's just do. Really? It was such a big deal that this thing was going public domain, and so I guess they're just like, oh, it's public domain because we don't want to have to pay to keep it, but we're still going to act like we have copyright claims on it.
You had one job and you failed. Thanks, Disney. Walt Disney Animation Steamboat Willie is officially in the public domain, and every company is making you very aware of that with new art. Because 95 years have passed since the original cartoon, this version of Mickey Mouse is owned by the general public. That means you can do whatever you want with him and still make money, right? Not necessarily. The situation on YouTube right now is complicated because Disney is still copyright claiming some videos with footage of the cartoon. Content creator Brock Baker uploaded a Brock stub of Steamboat Willie featuring swears and absolute chaos. It's a wild ride. On Twitter, he posted about how Disney copyright claimed this video, meaning it can't be monetized or watched in a few places around the world. Well, that sucks. Shortly after, the company released this claim, so it was time to party. Until shortly after that, where they claimed the audio. I'm sorry, what? Now, I decided to upload the entirety of Steamboat Willie because why not? What are you gonna do? Stop me? I wasn't intending on making money from this thing because
I'm sure I just got copyright restricted off of the maybe 2 minutes of The Simpsons I was playing. I'm sure that's Disney.
I didn't change it in any way, and that would just feel wrong. But even if I wanted to make money, the universe said no. My upload of Steamboat Willie got hit with this copyright claim. It can be viewed by anyone, but Disney didn't want me making a single penny off of their work. There's only one problem. They don't have the copyright of the original cartoon anymore. That's public domain. Deal with it, bitch. So, what's really going on here? Why is Disney still copyright claiming stuff? Well, who knows?
Well, I mean, I think it's just they upload everything into a database for YouTube to scrub videos for, and then, you know, they just, there's probably, I don't know, it's one guy or a very small team of that actually does that for Disney and YouTube, and they're probably busy. The whole copyright thing, would they even, I mean, I don't know, that is their business, they should know.
Maybe they found a loophole. It might also be because of Steamboat Willie in YouTube's Content ID system. It's an automated system that companies use to protect their works without real people needing to manually scan every single video uploaded on YouTube.
Content owners give us audio or visual reference files that identify their works.
Our Content ID database creates what is known as a fingerprint from these files. We keep these fingerprints in a database of hundreds of years of audio and visual content.
The system isn't perfect though, because some videos are flagged when they shouldn't be. It's only been about a week since Steamboat Willie entered the public domain, which means everyone's still figuring out how to handle it. As time goes on, you may be able to upload the cartoon with no restrictions or claims. Let's hope for the best.
Well,
A new year means a second chance at life for a local man. As News 5 anchor Tracy Carla shows us, it's all thanks in part to some of his co-workers.
The holidays are a busy time of year for retail workers.
I see my family at Costco more than my family at home sometimes during the holidays.
So when one of Jesse Orsborn Costco family members didn't show up for work last Thursday morning at 5 o'clock and still wasn't there 15 minutes later,
There's times where we oversleep, so usually we'll give them a phone call and be like, hey, you coming in? That type of thing. So that's why the initial contact was made, but then it turned into something a lot more.
in fact, that call just might have saved a life. When Jesse called, his coworker picked up, but
couldn't understand what he was saying on the other end. That alarmed us. Then we started calling, several times, eventually getting back in touch with him again. And that continued on, more mumbling and groaning. It was obvious that he was having some sort of a medical emergency.
it turns out, we're told, that he was having a stroke. While they kept their coworker on the phone, workers called EMS, who responded and got him to the hospital.
We take care of our employees. They mean the world to us. Without our employees, we can't do this job. So we look out for one another.
We're told the man has been released from the hospital, but still has a long road of recovery ahead of him. Tracy Carlos,
We miss you. We love you.
News 5.
What a story. Here are the signs of stroke in both men and women. Sudden numbness or weakness in the face, the arm, leg, especially on one side of the body. Sudden confusion, trouble speaking, difficulty understanding speech. Sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes. Sudden trouble walking, dizziness, loss of balance, or lack of coordination. And sudden severe headache with no known cause. The CDC says to call 911 right away if you or anyone else has any one of these symptoms. Good information and very scary.
Ugh. I worked a bunch of retail jobs, and if you're not there on time, they're gonna call, they're gonna reach out and say like, hey, where you at? I mean, I can't think of a single retail job I ever had that wasn't a skeleton crew or something just super tight on labor. So like if one person didn't show up, the day is going to be way harder for everybody else. So yeah, everybody would probably be calling saying like, hey, where you at? I hear Costco is actually like a pretty good employer. What's say Glass Door? Is it Glass Door? Let's go. Costco. Seem all right. Yeah, they got like that $2.50 pizza and a hot dog and a soda. It's the best thing. I'm gonna take a break. All right. Okay, so what else do we have out there? I mean, we got TikTok and Instagram and stuff. I think I have to do some betting on this. I mean, Philly streets, like I already know I'm gonna be sad about this.
Yeah, my name is Ra. We in
It's
Kensington,
an
Philadelphia.
hour and 4
North
minutes. No, I'm good. Florida utility tried to silence journalists looking into anti-solar lobbying. I have to be careful not to like watch some of these clips that are definitely going to be copywritten. Canyon. He's also there's a lot of people leaving YouTube. Oh, this looks good.
Do you remember how it felt to come home from school, switch on the TV, and settle in for a few hours of quality, curated entertainment?
Are you hugging the TV?
No. This universal experience spanned decades and crossed generational divides, and yet it has practically vanished from our modern existence. So what happened to after-school programming, and will
Kids don't watch TV. They watch their phones and iPads that they are given at 6 years old.
it ever return?
Pinky and the Brain have taken over their very own kids' WB show. You pondering what I'm pondering?
We're gonna dive into those questions today, but first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to Nerdstalgic so you don't miss out on our next upload. After-school programming is just a subcategory of block programming. This practice gave consumers more control, which resulted in them tuning in more often and for longer periods, and that made advertisers happy in turn. The larger television viewing audience was parsed down into several key demographics for advertisers. Among these groups, children were understood to be one of the more lucrative. Thus, children's programming blocks began airing on various television networks. While Saturday morning cartoons were the earliest and most popular implementation of this idea, after-school programming was its own formidable beast. Exhausted parents or their enterprising children could find age-appropriate TV shows between the hours of 2 and 5 p.m. on both local and national networks. At the time, the most likely suspects were programs like Howdy Doody, Clutch Cargo, Ultraman, and reruns of classics like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes.
That's all, folks.
Decades passed. Eventually, Howdy Doody gave way to He-Man and Transformers in the 1980s.
Well, the 80s was like a I don't know who the administration was, but basically they lifted a ban of like selling directly to children, or there was a loophole where it was like, well, we're not selling to children, we're making a TV show about a toy.
More children's programming started to flood our TV screens along with wildly aggressive advertisements. Your favorite heroes would appear in commercials to sell you action figures, breakfast cereal, and just about anything they could get away with. That is, until parents groups and political activists got a little too loud to ignore. After years of complaints and lobbying, the Children's Television Act was put in place in 1990. The CTA aimed to regulate both the type and duration of commercials that could be played during children's programming blocks. It also ensured that the shows themselves held some kind of educational value.
Pork
This
chop
made
sandwiches.
big changes to children's entertainment, but in truth, the tide had already been changing. Cynical TV shows made explicitly to sell toys continued to persist. Some of them were even good, but plenty of worthwhile lessons were being taught to kids before 1990 as well. Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood had been a shining beacon of wholesome educational content since the late 60s. The first episode of Reading Rainbow aired in 1983 with the stated purpose of maintaining children's ability to read over summer break. And Fraggle Rock aired the same year, intending to teach kids about diversity and acceptance while simultaneously being a fever dream.
The trash heap knows all. The trash heap tells all. Let's face it, boys, the trash heap is all. Too true. Too true.
But 1990 made these edutainment-type shows a legal necessity. As such, some TV shows got creative by writing easy lessons of the week about basic educational concepts, like the X-Men and Spider-Man animated series, while other, more explicitly educational shows like Captain Planet and Magic School Bus also had their time to shine. From there, a new nostalgic age of after-school programming was born. Fox Kids, Nick in the Afternoon, Kids WB, the Disney Afternoon, and PBS Kids were by far the most popular programming blocks during the 90s. A mix of fresh content and shows from previous decades populated these time slots. New episodes tended to air on Saturday mornings. Kids who sat down during the week were treated to reruns of legendary TV shows like Batman the Animated Series, Rugrats, DuckTales, Ren and Stimpy, and Pokemon. Enduring aforementioned classics like Tom and Jerry and Looney Tunes also remained in the lineup, withstanding the test of time and the test of the CTA's legal boundaries. It was an exciting time to be a kid. Around this time, as networks got more competitive, programming blocks started to pull out all sorts of tricks and gimmicks to keep kids from changing the channel. It was the themed bumpers between shows, the mini games to play along with, and, of course, the kid-targeted high-energy commercials for cool toys and sugary snacks. After-school programming of this era was made to feel like an exclusive kids-only event that we could talk to our friends about the next day. Like with Saturday morning cartoons, there was a palpable atmosphere to these hours between 2 and 5 p.m. One where kids had total control and felt as though the content was speaking directly to them rather than down at them.
This way, 2 commercials. Hey, it wasn't my idea.
But as with all good things, this golden era could not last forever. In 1996, the Children's Television Act was re-examined and stricter regulations were put into place. Known colloquially as the Kid Vid rules, these regulations forced networks to air at least 3 hours of strictly educational content.
This proposal fulfills the promise of the Children's Television
From midnight to 3 a.m.
Act. The television should serve the educational and informational needs of our young people.
It became more difficult for action-oriented TV shows with vague lessons about friendship and environmentalism to stay afloat. The largest networks managed to keep their kids' programming alive, but not without drastic changes. Time slots were slashed, so most after-school blocks only lasted a single hour. Advertisers were finding it difficult to skirt around the guidelines and limited airtime. Shows were canceled or had their budgets severely cut. Less effort was being put into the event-like details we used to love. And then there was the looming threat of the internet. The cultural landscape was changing as home computers started to become more common. The internet was going to be as unignorable as parents groups were in the 80s. It was easily accessible at any time, or as easily accessible as dial-up could be. Kids no longer had to rush home to catch the beginning of a show. They could entertain themselves whenever they felt like it with the click of a mouse. The rising popularity of video games also contributed to the dwindling ratings of once great programming blocks for the same reasons. Kids had more options than ever, which was great for them, but not so great for our favorite networks.
Don't go away. The Disney Afternoon will return on Scrollin.
By the mid-2000s, after-school programming was on life support. Saturday morning cartoons weren't looking too healthy either. And then, if this wasn't enough of a blow, the 2010s brought something new to the table: streaming platforms. Now, their favorite TV shows can be played at any time. Not only that, but they can pick which episodes they specifically want to watch, sometimes totally ad-free. There's just no room for the after-school programming of old. And in some ways, that's a good thing. This level of consumer control means that each individual viewer can create their own block. If they want to watch 6 uninterrupted hours of Cocomelon, then they can do that and leave the rest of us out of it. Streaming platforms aren't even our only option. A huge wealth of educational children's content has found a home on YouTube, where people like Miss Rachel continue the spirit of shows like Mr. Rogers, with an engaging level of kindness and empathy.
What color is this, friends? Green. Wow!
But there was a magic to that golden age of after-school programming that's severely lacking in today's modern age. Event-style television is much harder to come by, especially for children, and the sheer amount of available content means that everyone is watching something different. Our viewing experiences are becoming increasingly insular, which hurts the sense of community audiences used to have, and the creativity behind show bumpers and mid-show minigames has become a lost art. But the internet is a double-edged sword. While it is partly responsible for killing after-school programming, it's also helping it keep it alive. Re-uploads of nostalgic old network bumpers can garner millions of views. Not the shows, not even the commercials, just the bumpers. Clearly, there was something special about after-school programming. And while we probably won't ever see anything like it again, we can revisit it anytime, as long as we have an internet connection. And that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much for watching.
Isn't it interesting how he did like a 4:3 ratio on that? So much stuff out there. Well, let's do a couple Kindle runs just to see what we get.
Could this be a trap? Could this be a trap? Could this be a trap? Could this be a trap?
Elrune. Not horrible. 6. Emerald.
Could this be a trap?
Oh, let's see. What I want to play. I want to play Rocket League.
Could this be a trap?
All right. Let's see if we want to do some Rocket League. All right. Now I'm gonna play Rocket League. Somebody on a PlayStation. What's up?
Yeah, what's up, man?
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Let's see. how do we play Rocket League together?
What's that?
So how do we play Rocket League together if I'm on PC? Most of the cross-platform games will have like some type of like have
username or whatever.
yeah, they'll
set
have
up?
their own username like specific to that game.
So let me leave this here. Team channel. Let's see. Platform. Yeah, there we go. So there is like a, yeah, here we go. Already invites, club, fireball, block players.
All right, add Epic friend. So do you have a Epic ID?
Yep.
All right, what's that?
Let's see. Oh, it just let me, hold on. So it says add Epic friend. Oh yeah, no, this recent players. Z-Stelma 85, it looks like.
What is it?
Oh, Z-Stelma _ 85. Yeah, I'm gonna leave this match. As I have Discord connected to my PS5 as well.
Okay. Let's see. How can I? Not recent players, no. My Epic ID is like, I don't even know what this is. I didn't set it up, that's for sure.
Yeah, mine was from a long time ago. I think it took the one I had like forever ago when Rocket League came out.
Yeah.
So let me exit to the main menu. Let me do that.
If you see, oh, I see where your name is. I don't think that's your Epic. So if you go to the main menu, there should be like profile, and then on the right hand side it should say Z-Stelma 85, but underneath that it'll have Epic Games, and it'll actually have a name there.
Friends in game. Let me see. Epic Games. I'm looking for that. Yeah, it says party channel. You can hear Z-Stelma 85 on, off. Okay. See, off. Oh, let me see. Did you just see me?
I see you, yeah. I see you on the on Discord. That's funny.
Hold on. Trying to spin the camera. I don't see it. Just no camera. Oh, there we go. There we go. There's gotta be, there we go. Boom.
Oh wow. Yeah, you don't have one. That's weird.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not possible then.
So see if how do you add somebody? You have to like be in a game with them, right?
No, I think you can invite. Well, oh, it says invite players, and that's like X'd out right there.
Are you okay on the bottom left? Are you in profile?
No.
Go to profile.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Okay, and then on the what's on the right side? Does it show your name and everything?
Yeah, I mean at the bottom.
What about on the right side? What's over there?
Oh.
Nothing. Oh.
Views.
Oh wait. What about the bottom right?
Bottom?
That bottom right. Yeah. There we go.
That's what pops up. Yeah, that's where I was at before.
Oh. Okay. Well, you see where it says "Add Epic Friend" at the bottom?
Oh. Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So hit that.
All right. What you got?
Here I will text you. It's on my stream if you. But I will. Apparently, my epic name is All Right Mail.
Like ALL, like all right.
All right, mail. No, I texted it to you.
Right here. All right, so that's too funny. Oh man, it's the first time I've gained in forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then we started a business, and I've been like so busy, and I just have to do something. Let's see, did you get it?
Yep.
Nice.
There you go. All right, cool. So now create a party, and
wait, play. Nope. So back in the profile, great club. Here, I'll bring this back up for you. You still see what's going on?
I just invited you.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I see it. Oh my god. I don't see it. Oh, R2. It's R2. There we go. Beautiful.
Yay!
Oh, nice.
Easy peasy.
So how do we go on voice chat?
You want to do? I mean, I would just do it on Discord.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on 1 second. So.
Are you doing Discord on your phone?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out. I can move it to my PlayStation. I just forget how to do that.
Well, I mean, whatever works for you.
You there?
Yeah, man.
You there?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep. I've done it so long I can't remember how to do it. Let's see. You still there?
Yep.
Link services, Discord, linked. It's linked, but I don't remember how to go from here and move it to change audio. Oh, there we go. Boom. It's updated. Should be coming.
All right. Hang on 1 second. What I'm gonna do is I was streaming, but I was just doing some stupid crap. I'm gonna relaunch the stream and put it under Rocket League. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, just streams for the PlayStation.